vibrant theater community where there's lots of opportunity to do festivals of all kinds around the city and full productions, and really it's quite a supportive community as we see out here.
Yeah, that's great. So we don't have anything like that in Halifax. So I was just really interested in the model for the company. You have sighted and non-sighted people both involved.
That's right, and that's what the beauty of it is. We've had lots of opportunities for people who are sighted to get involved, either directing, working alongside, and we want people to bring it to the table. I mean, these are not shows where everybody's playing blind people, whether they be blind or sighted people. Sometimes it's hard to tell them apart, of course, but everybody really wants to get out there and have an opportunity to do things, to push themselves. We are selling tickets, so we gotta take it serious, but we also plan to have a lot of fun along the way, and we do. And when we come out here, like it's a big place here in Halifax, we're doing a workshop on Tuesday at the CNIB, and trying to see how much of an interest there is there. And I believe we have about 12, 13 people who are coming to our workshop, and I hear different rumblings that maybe some of them would like to get some plays on stage in town, or might be coming out to audition and stuff.
Yeah, well, that would be terrific. And when you're doing that workshop, if you feel like promoting the Fringe Festival.
That's kind of a key point. Drag a few of them out there later on. Tell them we're going for something to eat and our show.
And to elaborate on that, one of the I'm a sighted actor and director,
and the assistant company director.
And the assistant company director. One of the most interesting things about At a Sight, from my perspective, is that the systems you use, the process you go through to build a show is completely different with blind actors than with sighted actors. Things like prop placement, set pieces, everything has to be very exact right from the beginning. So you can have an exact formula for blind actors to come into where they know this is going to be here, this is going to be here, it's 17 feet from this to this. And one of the things our audiences enjoy the most is watching the blind actors maneuver on stage, and then if we do our job well, trying to guess who's blind and who's not.
And most times sighted people guess wrong.
Yeah, they're like, he's blind, and it's all the sighted people.
Wow, so that actually really surprises me, because I would have thought that it's relatively easy to tell.
No, our goal is to work with the blind actors enough that they don't look blind. I mean, if you have googly eyes or whatever, people are going to know right away, but one of our goals is for an audience to look at our production and say, well, I don't know who's blind and who's not. And we've done really well with that, and we have to be able to compete with the other companies in London to stay alive as a company, so we have to produce good theater. And so far we have, I think.
And the blind actors, they want to be able to go outside of Out of Sight and be viable and considered for roles at other troupes, and be given the same opportunity judged on, is this person that character that I'm looking for as a director?
So the two of you, Tim and Steve, how did you get involved as sighted people with Out of Sight production?
I guess it was 7 or 8 years ago now. Kelly was looking for a director, and we had a mutual friend, and I directed a play, and instantly kind of fell in love with the dynamics and the processes it takes, because I do have a traditional theater background, so then to add this new element of something fun to experiment with, and I've just been hooked on it, and the blind community is such a rich community, full of so many interesting personalities, so I really got hooked on it. Tim's just a good friend of mine, and
I'm one of those sighted people who wanted the opportunity to actually get out there and test the boundaries, and because I know Steve, I was fortunate that way, so he kind of pulled me into a show that we did 2 years ago. And after the show, and it went well, but after the show I said I'd never do this again. I was so nervous on stage.
Yeah.
So I dragged him to Halifax.
Yeah, exactly, so that's why we're here.
So you were telling me earlier that this is sort of your first time this far away from your home base in London. So what's that experience been?
It's been great so far. We did, last summer we experimented. We traveled out of the city with another Fringe festival, and it went really well, and we actually made money, which when you're traveling is a good thing for a company. And I've always wanted to come out to Halifax for no particular reason, just something drawing me out here, and so we did it. We packed up, wrote a play, and here we are.
And it's really wonderful because it gives us a chance to spread the word, but also to test out some of the things. When you bring any cast, I don't care if you're sighted, blind, a mix of both, and crew, you really want to kind of get something on the ground so you know when you get there. People say, yeah, but we're all the way from home, like being in Hamilton, Ontario, a half hour from London. If anyone calls mother and says, get me out of this, I want out of here. It's a little easier for that kind of circumstance to bail ourselves out. So we believe that that's a lot of our processes too, trying to think ahead. You can't think ahead for everything, but you can, do what you can to kind of take down the risk.
And it's important for us to spread the message of what Site is doing in our mandate. And, like with the workshop we're doing on Tuesday, if some of those actors come forward and say, hey, we'd like to create this in Halifax, then we're able to be a resource for them to turn to when building and creating their own company.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what comes out of that workshop. I'm hopeful that there might be some really interesting theater moments in Halifax that can grow from that.
So we hope so too. It would be really wonderful. It would be nothing like spreading the word, getting more people out there, because the joy we've had just doing it, sharing it, the people we've met, and other people with other circumstances have come to us who may not feel as comfortable to approach other community theater troops, and they come to us, and the big family thing continues.
Yeah, because we do adapt our processes for the blind actors. It's other disabilities. It's no big deal to adapt the process a little more to meet their needs.
I guess once you learn where the flexibilities are, then you can just
yeah.
continue to play with them depending on what the limitations
Yes,
that you're
absolutely.
confronted with.
And it is interesting as well because we are a company serving the blind and other disabled communities in London. A lot of our audiences, of course, we get a lot of the disabled community in London out to our shows, and it makes for some very interesting shows. One of the big jokes is because we often have guide dogs at our shows. If there's a fight scene and the guide dogs get upset, you know you're doing it right.
If you hear them snoring and it vibrating through the floor, they're ready to go home. We're here again?
So we talked a lot about the company. We haven't talked a ton about the show. And I know that there is sort of a twist to the show, so I don't want to talk too much about the content. But tell us a little bit about the show.
All right, the show, and it is hard to talk about without giving away some of the elements and not ruining surprises. But the show is inspired by, but not based upon, Armin Muse, who's a famous cannibal. There's no cannibalism in it. It's just inspired by something that happened. If you don't know who that is, Google it. It's really messed up. It is a really twisted kind of dark comedy. Tim's character is Tom. I play David, and we are brought together for a very unordinary reason, and we are both very ordinary people. And the mystery of the show is trying to figure out what exactly is going on here and where is it leading, because there's some elements that are very distinct and very strong elements, let's say, that make you're kind of led on a bit of a journey as you're figuring out what exactly this situation is. It is billed as a dark comedy, not for the easily offended, because there is some humor that's kind of,
Yeah,
could be interpreted
I've
different
noticed
ways.
in your promotional material that you sort of went out of your way to say, like, offensive, will offend, not for
Yeah.
sensitive audiences. So that intrigues me. I can't wait to see it. That's exactly what you're talking
You know what drags us all out?
It's nothing distasteful, I will say.
Oh,
There's
no.
nothing you're gonna leave. I mean, we had one Christian man who got a little upset about a masturbation joke, but that happens. It's nothing distasteful.
We've all had those days.
And he saw the show twice.
Yeah, he came back. There's nothing distasteful or nothing that's really going to upset people, but there is some of the jokes are a little risky or a little, pushing some boundaries, but that's good theater, really.
Yeah, that's what we're
it makes
here for.
people think,
Fringe
it makes
theater.
people laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, before we wrap up, so I'm glad to get people the chance to talk about their own shows, but I'm also interested what other shows might be on your radar screen that you've seen or are looking forward to or have heard about during the festival.
We haven't gone to see anything yet because we've been busy and exploring Halifax, which is a wonderful city. A couple that come to mind, Tribe of One I really want to check out. The Adversary. I had others in my mind that are escaping me now.
You happen to be mentioning the other guests who are also in the audience. That's not going unnoticed.
Now you know why my little blind
Well, in
ears
that
were
case,
by the table while you were
Also, I
organizing.
also want to see Jess Kidding, because I know she's here somewhere.
All right, well, thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
And good luck everybody at the
will move right along. The second show on my list is Mabel's Last Performance. Two folks from that show. So welcome. We'll start the same way. I'll ask you to tell us who you are and what your involvement is with the show.
My name is Megan Pearson-Monafu, and I wrote the show, and I'm stage managing this production.
My name is Beth Terry, and I compose the music for the production.
Wonderful. And I'll ask you a little bit about that in a moment because I think that's actually really interesting. But first of all, maybe I'll just jump in and tell us a little bit about Mabel's Last Performance.
Sure. So Mabel's Last Performance is the story of an ex-actress who she gets early onset Alzheimer's, and she finds herself in a nursing home. And she's trying in the play to break out of the nursing home. She doesn't belong there, she's too young for it, she's fabulous, she has a life to live. She's trying to get out.
So, well, I mean, one of the things that was mentioned to me, I haven't seen the show yet, it's on my to-do list along with a lot of other shows, because there are 60 of you, but someone who saw the show noted to me that it's a show sort of about aging largely, or featuring an older actress, and yet it's written by such a young person. So I was interested in how you kind of found your way into that material.
Well, I went to acting school, and I think like a part of that is learning empathy, or like using that as a tool. And then I came back to Halifax, this is my hometown, and I worked for about 3 weeks